All right. What's some intro banter that isn't about uh, the fact that we've been dealing with tech issues for 2 hours?
um, hmm. I don't
Was my
know.
volume okay, by the way? I adjusted my gain level somewhere in all this fucking bullshit.
Yeah, you're all right.
All right, great.
Um, I don't, I don't know necessarily intro banter, but I was thinking that because in the process of like researching for stories, I find sort of like little updates on things we've already talked about, but
Right.
it's nothing that's like worth going into. You know what I mean? Like it's a at best
Yeah.
like a little like I there was a
Yeah, that's why
an
I didn't talk
article.
about the time I got anal probed.
Right. Because it's just like a little blurb, that
Yeah, exactly. More than
you
that.
right, you acknowledge and you move on. But no, like there was something this week about how Loch Ness monster researchers, are now reaching out to NASA, which is like uh, it's kind of interesting, but also it's not really a story. You know what I mean? That's like a little chyron at the bottom of your news program where like okay, but that's the totality of the story.
The
And a
totality of the
lot
story is that UFO researchers are reaching out to NASA.
no Loch Ness monster. What did I
Loch
say?
Ness
UFO?
Monster. I think
I meant Loch Ness monster.
you might have said Loch
Apologies.
Ness Monster. I might have
Yeah.
retroactively imagined UFO before. Folks, we've been a bit preoccupied here at Underworld News Tonight headquarters for the last 2 hours. Uh, so I apologize if we seem a bit scatterbrained. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, what could NASA offer the real truth seekers of the world? The Loch Ness Monsterists, the ufologists, the vampire hunters, the ghost detectives, the podcasters.
Right. Well, it's interesting that they reached out to NASA, um, which their thing is space, right? And not Noah. Like we have
Well,
there
well,
is
what?
like
Well, that
like a
that makes you
government,
makes you wonder what they found.
and also
Also, Noah can't investigate a lock.
well, I don't know if NASA could either because they're both in
Satellites,
another country,
satellites. I bet they
right?
could use the satellites.
Yeah, it's not really in their jurisdiction to be looking at shit in Scotland, I would
You
think.
can't tell the space cops what to do.
No. Um, but no, that's like a mildly interesting tidbit, but it's not worth like a whole story. Or the same thing now with uh every week there's like a new article about like Avi Loeb and his, he said something about UFO investigations, and
You
it
mean
can be
Avi
interesting.
Loeb, the genius who's always correct because he's at Harvard.
Right.
So,
Yes. Right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
you're fucking
Risking his
shill ass
reputation. Yeah.
doubter. This is Underworld News Tonight, by the way. I'm Andrew Michaels. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, uh, official tech support of the podcast, Jason Strong.
I've been failing miserably at that.
Yeah. No, this was, folks. We starting off today. We had one of those. There might still be some audio hiccups. There might not be. We had some tech issues that don't really seem to be anyone's fault. So we apologize for any audio issues you might be having, and we apologize if we seem a bit, a bit more high strung coming into the episode mainly than we normally do.
Furious.
Yeah, a bit more,
In a furious rage.
yeah, a bit more enraged. But you know what, folks? You guys deal enough with tech issues at your jobs. I
Yeah.
know I
You don't want to hear
certainly
about
do at
that.
my day job. They don't want to hear about this, so we got to
No.
ease into it.
Yeah.
We said our names. What we do on this
We did.
podcast is we talk about the weird,
Mm-hmm.
the wacky, and the
Wacky.
wild news of the week.
Wild. Yep. All three.
All three of those
All three is,
categories.
yeah.
W W W.
W. Uh-huh.
Where's the fourth
Yeah.
W? Weird, wacky, wild,
Wild.
whimsical.
Yeah. You think? I guess.
You know what I wouldn't
Yeah.
describe as whimsical, Jason?
What's that?
This first story. Most
Mm,
convincing, and that's in quotes, UFO case. This is by the Daily Star, by the way, in the UK.
sure.
Most
Hmm.
convincing UFO case. Left man looking like a human Connect 4 board.
Whoa.
When an amateur geologist explored a remote area near Falcon Lake in Canada, a reported encounter with a UFO allegedly left him with severe injuries and radioactive clothing.
Yeah.
By Adam Goldsmith and Abigail Hunt.
Sure.
Radioactive clothing, by the way,
Hmm.
not to be confused with Jason Strong's acclaimed line of parachute pants from the 80s.
Right. Or the what is it? Hypercolor.
Hypercolor. What
All the
the fuck is that?
hypercolor t-shirts. Oh, you don't know? They
No, I was
changed
not
it with
born.
like yeah, they would change with like heat. So like you could hold your hand and there'd be like a handprint. Though yeah.
What? But
Yeah,
but you put it on your body where you get hot.
you
Like
do.
my back
Uh-huh.
gets very sweaty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a
I,
horrible idea.
yeah, I think maybe you're seeing the flaw in the product
Yeah, no,
design.
like immediately, like this should have been, first immediate stopgap, man. Well,
Right.
speaking of
Anyway,
hypercolor,
yeah.
a
Yeah,
bloke,
please.
this is a British publication, so they do describe him as a bloke, was left with severe burns and melted fingertips after allegedly getting too close to a disc-shaped craft in one of Canada's most notorious UFO encounters. The incident
Yeah.
took place in the summer of 1967 when Stefan Michalak, a Polish immigrant living in Canada, visited Falcon Lake in Manitoba. Stefan,
Hmm.
an amateur geologist, had previously explored the areas in search of gold and quartz.
Mm.
However, instead of finding precious minerals, Stefan was left both mentally and physically scarred by a reported encounter with a glowing UFO. His
Yeah.
extraordinary tale was recounted on the It Gets Weird podcast by host Niall. That is a
Hmm.
podcast, so I cannot confirm the scars. He
Right.
didn't come on. I don't know if he looks like
No.
Anakin Skywalker at the end of episode 3 or not, but just picture him.
Hard to say.
That's the
Yeah.
image I want you guys to form in your mind's eye as I describe it in
Hmm.
quotes.
Hmm.
Niall detailed how Stefan was investigating the area when a flock of geese started honking nearby, or as they call that in Manitoba, a street gang. Upon inspecting the commotion, he was suddenly faced with two cigar shaped objects hovering above the ground, with shifted color from reddish orange to silver.
Mm.
Of course, cigar shape is a less common UFO shape description,
Hmm.
but it does exist. I don't think we've covered any cigar shaped UFOs on the show yet, have we?
Hmm. Uh, no, I don't believe so. But yeah, I'm
But
familiar with. I
yeah,
have heard that before. Yeah.
it's like you're gonna hear it less than your saucers and your Tic Tacs and your pills, but you will hear it. One of the objects
Right.
began to descend, morphing into the circular disc shape typically associated with UFO sightings. Stefan reportedly
Mm.
sat and sketched the craft, with his drawings being published online years later. Eventually, the
Mm.
geologist decided to approach the spaceship. As he got closer, he began to smell
Mm.
sulfur and exhaust fumes, which,
Yeah.
look, kids, I just want to
Hmm.
say there are better ways to have a good time than smelling sulfur and exhaust fumes.
Hmm.
Go to
There's not
mini
many better
golf.
ways, but there are better ways. Yeah.
Go to mini golf.
Yeah. Right.
Play your Nintendo Switch.
Hmm. Yeah.
Masturbate. And if you've already tried that, try sticking a finger up your butt, but don't.
Okay. Well.
No, no, if you're 18 plus, if you're 18 plus,
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
under that age, you should be ashamed of
No.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. This podcast probably isn't for you.
Stop listening to this show. But
It'll make
I've
you
looked
too
at our
make it too
demographics. I
cool.
think I
Yeah.
think we're good.
I think so too. Uh.
Eventually,
Yeah. Sulfur and exhaust. I wonder what kind of exhaust. Because exhaust
I
kind of smells different.
yeah,
Depending on yeah. Well, you can't
like
tell
depending
like
on
a
the type of
diesel.
gas, grade of gas.
Yeah. 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 Like diesel exhaust smells different than uh I don't know, non-diesel. What's the gas?
Then leaded or unleaded.
Yeah.
And we got to bring
Would
that
you,
leaded
yeah.
gasoline back.
You think so?
You know why we got to bring that leaded gasoline back? You guys know I've been doing stand up for the last few months.
Hmm.
Gallagher used to kill by just smashing a watermelon with a hammer and yelling at people. That was
Hmm.
all you had to do for these fucking people.
Right. Yeah, it was a different time. It was a lot simpler,
Yeah,
simpler time,
simpler people. Anyway,
simpler
that's not what
people.
we're here to
Yeah.
talk about today.
Hmm. Watermelon's inherently more funny then.
They were a lot more funny then. You could
Yeah.
smashing fruits. Like there are very few.
Hmm.
I don't know. People. I guess people outgrew it when they got rid of the leaded gasoline. Man, that's what I was saying.
I guess
Uh,
so. Hmm.
One of the objects began to descend, morphing into the circular disc shape typically associated with UFO sightings, which is interesting. I don't know if we really hear a lot about that shifting
Hmm.
between shapes. Of course, it's also possible if you consider either FTL or interdimensional travel that that's sort of an
Hmm.
optical illusion. Stefan reportedly sat and sketched the craft, with his drawings being published online years later.
Hmm.
Uh, so far, I can't think of any weird reason, any other reason why an amateur geologist named Stefan would be seeing weird shit in 1967,
Right. Yeah, nothing comes to mind.
with the judgment to then sit
Yeah,
there and sketch during all of this.
sure. Yeah. No, I can't imagine what. Yeah.
Eventually, the geologist, and let's not, the amateur geologist, I'm going to say the geologist, no, I don't know. What's the difference between an amateur geologist and a pro geologist? Just a paycheck, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
If a pro
Well,
geologist is unemployed, he is an amateur geologist again. That's how
I
that
suppose
works,
I suppose
right? If
that's
you're a geology
right.
professor and you get fired for,
Right.
I don't know, rock fraud or sexual harassment,
Right. One of those things.
I think those are the two things that you could lose a tenure geology professor job for. But
Yeah.
let us know
Rock fraud. Mhm.
underworldnewstonight at gmail.com. Or the
Rocks.
Spotify question. We might
Yeah.
not even. I was going to be too bad to make a Spotify question, so here it is. What would you fire an amateur a geology professor for? Besides rock fraud and sexual harassment, we already have covered those. If you lose that, you're an amateur geologist again, though. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Hmm.
But the geologist
You
is.
lose all your endorsements, all your sponsorships. Nike isn't paying you anymore.
No more of Gatorade.
Nope.
Eventually, the geologist decided to approach the spaceship. As he got closer, he began to smell sulfur and exhaust fumes. The air grew warmer, and he heard the sound of whirring motors.
Hmm.
According to Niall, Stefan, sorry, neared the craft. I don't know why that's fucking me up so much. You know what it is?
Mm,
Canada, if you're a Canadian, Stephen, you should say it the American way. None of this Stefan.
yeah. Well, I don't know.
I
I mean,
guess if you're
I
French,
understand.
the
Yeah.
French, the
Well,
fancy
it's not.
Canadians.
Yeah, it's not a very common name here at all. As opposed, I guess well, I guess Steven's slightly more common, but it's not. I don't meet many Stevens.
I know some Stevens. There was a kid in my class. So I had an eighth grade history teacher who was like a weird guy. And he
Hmm.
was one of these weird guys who like, there's a certain type of guy that mostly exists on the East Coast.
Hmm.
And it's a guy who's like a kind of liberal-ish guy. I think he was gay, but like nobody would like kind of like a single older guy. He grew up
Hmm.
in Patterson, New Jersey, which is like kind of like a rough post-industrial small city.
Okay.
Like kind of during its decline. Then he fought, and I
Hmm.
think he was in the military. I think right after Vietnam.
Hmm.
Um, all of which is to say that that this kid who in my class who was named Steven with a PH, we're doing introductions, and he asked him if he calls it himself Steven and not Stefan because he's ashamed of being Polish. In 2008,
Hmm. Oh man.
all that fucking anti-Polish
Yeah.
discrimination
Right.
that was still
Uh-huh.
happening.
Right. Right. Man. Yeah, that does seem like a weird professor. I guess another word I would use is asshole.
No, but he wasn't
Sounds
being an
like you might be an
asshole. He
asshole.
wanted to tell him it's like okay to be Polish.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
No, like that's the thing. It wasn't
Sure,
like he was
sure.
being an
Yeah.
asshole. He was concerned that this kid was like worried
Was
about being like discriminated against for being Polish because that's how it was for him in
okay.
like the 50s. So we
I
assumed that that's
gotcha.
like still the
Okay.
case.
I retract my statement. Yeah. Good on him.
Yeah. Don't talk shit on Mr. Caffiero. Anyway, according
Okay.
to Niall, as
Apologies. Yeah.
Stefan neared the craft, he noticed an open door with a bright light at the side from which
Mm-hmm.
muffled voices could be heard. He couldn't
Mm-hmm.
make out any words or anything, but he heard at least two beings communicating inside. At this
Mm.
point, he called out, saying that if they needed any mechanical help, he's willing to help them. So you just saw this cigar-shaped object morph into a flying saucer and
Right.
land, and you're
Uh-huh.
approaching it like just fucking out of the blue and being like,
Hey,
"Hey, do you need me to take a look under the hood?"
you need to jump?
You're working on 1963 Camaros,
Right.
Stefan.
You want me to take a look?
What are you doing, Stefan? The voices
I like this
stopped.
guy.
Donning welding goggles he had brought, Stefan is said to have peered
Oh,
inside the
yeah,
craft,
sure.
observing
Brought with him.
flashing buttons and panels blinking, but not witnessing any living creatures, alien or otherwise. But things began to take a turn for the worse when Stefan attempted to touch the UFO while wearing thick gloves. As soon
Hmm.
as he touches the craft, the fingertips start to melt. It's so hot that it literally melts the gloves he's wearing, suggested Niall.
Mm.
At the same time, Stefan observed the spaceship starting to turn, with a panel of holes facing towards him. He continued. He's hit by the blast of air that pushes him backwards and sets his shirt and hat on fire. He's
Yeah.
stumbling backwards, getting pushed by this wave of air and gas, trying to take his burning shirt and hat off. This All right, yeah, it's some sideshow Bob shit.
Mhm.
All
Mhm.
right. Left on his own, Stefan began to feel nauseous, and while vomiting, he stumbled through the forest to find help. He made it back
Mhm.
to his motel, and with the nearest hospital a fair distance away, Stefan coordinated with his missus to meet back in their hometown of Winnipeg, hopping on a 2-hour
Mm.
bus ride to get there.
Mhm.
Stefan was a bit cagey about spilling the beans on what went down, with Niall suggesting, not really being sure what he went through, he told his family and the
Sure.
people in the hospital that he was hit by airplane exhaust.
Mm.
Stefan was treated for some nasty burns that had him looking like a human Connect 4 board, which is not a
Ugh.
respectful way to refer to this. There's a
No.
picture of this, by the way, on. So there's a picture of him in his hospital bed, like on the article that I'll post to Instagram. Uh, I really think this guy might have dropped a waffle iron on himself.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, like it looks like straight up, like very even, like waffle iron burns on it. No, it's a bit too much because he lost all of his chest hair though. So I guess like he
Oh.
lost all of his
Ugh.
belly, like his belly. He has a clean cutoff point on his chest hair to his belly.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Hmm.
for weeks on end,
Mhm.
he was plagued with symptoms that smack of radiation sickness. Think relentless runs and chucking up.
Hmm.
Tests by Canadian National Atomic Research Center showed he wasn't glowing with radioactivity, but was showing signs similar to those zapped by radiation. They
Ugh.
find out that the burns on his chest do come from gamma rays, which passed through his stomach and basically broke down what was in there. Once he'd bounced back in the
Yikes.
hospital,
Ugh.
once he'd bounced
Sorry. No.
back
Yeah.
in once he'd bounced back in the hospital, Stefan was able to track down and revisit the spot where he'd had his close encounter. The search turned
Mhm.
up his charred shirt, a melted glove, and some tools he'd left in a haste, along with a circle of scorched earth where the alleged UFO had touched down. The soil samples and Stefan's recovered clothing were also found to be radioactive, adding to the intrigue.
Ugh.
The case sparked a media
Mhm.
frenzy due to the compelling evidence and Stefan's severe injuries. Yet, Niall pointed out that Stefan never chased the limelight over the encounter, sticking to the story consistently
Mm.
until his passing in 1999. So I guess it was one of his descendants or something on the show, or just someone talking about it.
Got it. Right.
He never, as far as I can tell, says that there were aliens involved. Niall remarked. Stefan's story never really
Mhm.
changes. Over time, people try to add things on and tweak it a little bit. He has to clear up multiple
Mhm.
times he never saw any alien beings inside the aircraft. The fact that
Sure.
he stuck to his story for so long never really changed it and seemed decently credible is one of the more interesting aspects of this case,
Yeah.
according to the podcast. Yes, that's the end of the.
that he was honest. Yeah.
He at least wasn't like immediately running around chasing book deals. He didn't change the story. He didn't try to fit any narrative. It's a very it's compelling.
Yeah.
And it seems like believable at the very least that he experienced some weird radioactive whatever. He didn't totally
Sure.
back away and say no, it was nothing. Nor did he
Mhm.
totally. It definitely wasn't a waffle iron. It looked like that at first because like you could
Sure.
see the like little dots, but no, like all of his
Huh?
chest hair from the like top from like nipple
The
down is gone.
right. Man.
And he has a
Hmm.
very hairy upper chest, a hairier upper chest than me. Probably like a Jason
Okay.
Strong upper chest, just totally hairless below the nips, if
Mhm.
you can imagine,
Yeah.
from this injury, and then a
Well.
smaller Connect four board setup.
Hmm. But nothing like hit him. It was just the blast of air.
That was all.
Or am I? Yeah. Huh. Wow. What's interesting that it's like both radioactive and there's like exhaust. I guess I don't know. Like if something's nuclear powered, is there exhaust, and would it be something you would recognize by smell? Like
Um,
assuming you're a mechanic, right? Like I'm sure people that work with
you're asking the
radioactive
wrong
reactors.
person that this type of shit.
No? Oh man.
Uh, but like most UFOs don't have an obvious source of propulsion. Is
Right.
kind of like
Uh-huh.
part of how the like I think a lot of government agencies will define it. I
Right.
know MUFON uses that as part of their definition as well. So it is interesting to hear a case where somebody's specifically talking about exhaust getting hit by what sounds like a jet blast, something like that.
Right.
Which makes it sound like it might have been some sort of weird Canadian nuclear research or something. People also
Yeah.
forming weird memories in a traumatic instance.
Hmm.
But it could have also been a UFO with some dead aliens in it. Who's to say?
Yeah. No. And yeah, this Stefan sounds like quite a character. Sounds like a good guy.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you're driving along and come across a UFO, are you gonna offer him a jump or
he sounds like he sounds incredibly stupid because again,
okay?
please tell me what you're going to do. Please explain to me. Do you know how to repair like an airplane? I mean, maybe he was in the Navy in the Air Force actually during World War II. Now that I think about it, the dates might add up.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this was the late
Well,
60s, this guy would have
yeah.
been in his 40s, I think, at the time, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think
No, I
Canada
would
was involved in Korea. I think
I don't
they
think
stayed out of that
I don't
one.
I don't think so. I mean, except maybe it's like part of the UN, but um
They
well,
were
I don't
actually
know.
on the North Korean side. Nobody talks about it.
Yeah. Uh no, I wouldn't be able to fix a plane, but if I found one on the side of the road, I guess I would go see if I can help. Like,
If I found a plane on the side of the
I don't
road, you know what I would think?
know. What's that?
9/11 thwarted.
Yep. Yeah. Wouldn't that depend on the date?
Nope.
Huh. And this was in sorry, where in Canada?
Manitoba.
Oh. No, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And yeah, so he kept the same story, didn't really embellish it or change details.
Nope,
Uh
never really did the talk show rounds or anything like that. That's why we're kind of just
right.
finding out about it now.
That's what I was going to
Uh,
ask. This is like the
yeah.
first time, yeah, this is
Yeah,
being
I think
made
in
public.
general, there's going to be a lot that, you know, things that are part of family lore, and it's going to become hard to kind of figure out where the lore ends and the story begins. But
Oh,
a lot
sure.
of the more credible stories that involve less limelight seeking are going to start to come out.
Oh, yeah, of course. Um, no, that totally makes sense. Well, yeah, it is always suspicious, like what Grush we had talked about before that came out with his testimony and then immediately started doing the uh
Yeah,
doing the press circuit and maybe with folks that you kind of question, okay, he's looking for attention.
yeah, and look, the flip side of it too is that people who are more government insiders there could be more of a desire to like, make this as public as possible. And I get that impulse.
Sure.
But,
Sure.
I
Sure.
think that
Mhm.
a case like this, which is clearly a private civilian in the crossfire, uh, how
Right.
public you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Plus, I do imagine the
Yeah.
government gives you a payout in this situation. The Canadian government, anyway. The U.S. government probably just kills you.
Oh yeah. No, we don't pay for shit.
Yeah, we would just shoot him on the side of the road,
Uh-huh.
like the fucking European hitchhiking robot that came to Philadelphia.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Um, huh. No, that's pretty wild. Yeah, I guess it's just such a like different like sort of story than the typical. I don't know. Typical like UFO encounter. Again
Yeah,
with the like exhaust smell and the someone who actually was like did like suffered effects of radiation. Like clearly something. He has like physical evidence that something happened to him.
yeah, exactly. No, I think that
Yeah.
definitely makes it a lot more interesting.
Hmm.
And I think it
Yeah.
definitely, at the very least, we know an event occurred.
Next story comes to us from the New York Post. This is by Snejana Brevov.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Scientists still baffled from giant human skeletons up to 10 feet tall, decades after initial discovery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So giant human skeletons
Giant human
up to 10 feet
skeletons.
tall. Man.
Yeah, they were reportedly discovered in and around Nevada caves last century. Uh, last century, I guess, is 2000s, right?
Last
Uh,
century is not the
or 20,
2000s.
yeah, no, yeah, no. What was
Last
last century?
century
Or would have
is
been
the
the,
is
yeah,
the is the
19.
is the 20th century.
Yeah.
That's the
No, you're right.
definition of what a century is.
Are you sure?
Yes, the century is every hundred is the 100-year thing. So it's the 19 so
Not the,
the 20th century is the
okay.
1900s, and then the 21st century is the 2000s.
Hmm.
19th is
Okay.
the 1800s, because
Wait.
technically the year 0, that's the first century, so that's
Okay.
why.
Even though it's zero.
Yeah, because they can't have a 0th century. That
Yeah.
sounds weird.
No, I
I
know.
can't tell if you're fucking with me here or not.
uh, anyway, yeah. Giant skeletons up to 10 feet tall, reportedly discovered in and around Nevada caves, dubbed the Giants of Lovelock, still baffling scientists decades later.
Oh man.
Uh, yeah, claims here,
Well,
supersized,
podcasters can probably figure it out.
but yeah, podcasters will figure out. Claims about supersized humans who roam the area around Lovelock, a remote town 90 miles northeast of Reno. Thousands of years ago, rooted in Native American lore, tells of a fierce, red-headed, pale-skinned giants who arrived from Central America by boat and attacked the local tribes. After years of war, the foreign invaders were chased into a cave and slaughtered en masse, according to stories passed down by the indigenous Paiute people.
I'm just gonna say it. Uh,
Mhm.
I'm against that part. I think that was a bit hardline.
The what, killing the invaders? Well, they were invading.
Yes, yeah, it's the chasing people into caves and slaughtering them en masse. You could tell them to knock it off. You could kick them out. You could say, "Get out of here."
Yeah.
Uh, you can't en masse. I'm against
Mhm.
that. I know it was a different time and
You
all
would
that.
you would
I
prefer
think
if it was
I would.
one, yeah, singly, one at a
I would
time.
have been the guy who would have said, "Hey, what if we simply killed some of them
Right.
and let others live, not in caves, because we're not like weird little freaks, right?"
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Not that I'm
I
calling it.
don't know.
I just
I'm
want to clarify with that last part. Now I'm digging myself
I'm
into
not
my own hole. I'm not calling any group of people weird little freaks. And as a weird little freak myself, there's nothing wrong with that. Uh, I'm just saying in
Yeah.
this particular
You're showing
instance,
solidarity with other weird little freaks.
I'm showing solidarity with other weird little freaks, and I'm saying that we didn't need to. There are other solutions to this. You didn't need to do the en masse cave killing thing.
I guess I don't feel comfortable second guessing uh a people's military response to an invasion by giants 1,000 years ago. Um, I'll leave it there.
Well, it is interesting though. Like I know we're kind of joshing around, if you
Uh-huh.
will,
Yeah.
but one thing that I think is really interesting about this story is that there are, I mean, there are so many of these different religious or mythological accounts or whatever that center around
Hmm.
giants in some capacity or another
Oh,
across
yeah.
cultures. So
Yeah.
this sort of thing being here
Yes,
as well, and
absolutely.
then this sort of is being described as these giant human skeletons. Obviously, like
Uh-huh.
it is an interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, and I was gonna touch on that. But to get back here to Lovelock, Nevada. No, that's how it's pronounced. Nevada. Lovelock, Nevada.
Nevada, Nevada,
Nevada, Nevada,
Nevada.
Nevada, Nevada. Uh, yeah. So the tales were always taken as legend, but a series of discoveries made decades ago raised many unanswered questions. First foray into the Lovelock Cave was made in 1911 when a pair of miners searching for guano. You know what guano
Which should
is?
be an adult's job.
I assume they're adults, but I guess it doesn't really say.
No, he said it's a group of miners.
I said a pair of miners. Yeah. Oh, miners. Miners. Like,
My humor is wasted.
no, it took me a minute to get it. You're right. It's been a long day for us. So.
Yeah, this is guys. You have no
Just
fucking idea. Holy shit!
right.
Like I know I was
Oh,
joking around before when I said you don't want to hear us complain about tech issues, but you really don't, and you especially don't want to hear me complain about what it's going to be like to edit afterwards.
no, it was awful. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're like way late.
Yeah, we are.
Still not completely resolved, but also
Yeah. You know what's the one thing that I
yeah.
do hope?
Ugh,
The
yeah.
story we did
Mm.
between the UFO sighting, the Canadian
Oh, and
guy
this
who
one?
got
Yeah.
Swiss
Uh-huh.
Connect Forward in this one. We need to like I will be so pissed. I know you said there were some
If
hiccups, but if that story can't
right.
there because that was really
No.
like a spur of the moment once in a lifetime thing that we'll never be able to recapture. So
Yeah. No, we had like yeah. Yeah. I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, so a pair of miners, people with pickaxes, searching for guano, bad excrement. They unearthed 60 human skeletons, including some measuring 7 to 8 feet tall. Uh, this was mentioned and went on to be reported in
wait,
archaeology world,
didn't the
which does
headline say 10 feet or am I making that up?
it. I believe it did. Yeah,
Yeah, because there are 7 foot tall people. Like
yeah.
Shaquille
No,
O'Neal
yeah,
is
we're not.
7 feet
Yeah,
tall, right?
no,
Like
yeah, and yeah,
Yao
and
Ming.
we're gonna get to Shaquille O'Neal, but yeah, I think this is just giving kind of a backstory, or there have been numerous excavations there. Again, that was the first one. The point of mentioning that it showed up in 1935. Again, it was sort of at the time maybe kind of sort of legitimized in archaeology world. Two subsequent excavations carried out in 1912 and 1924 brought to light thousands of ancient artifacts, among them well worn sandals measuring an astonishing 15 inches in length, which is the equivalent of a modern day size 29 shoe. For
Oh wow.
comparison, for comparison, uh, what size shoe do you imagine Shaquille O'Neal might wear?
So I think we were actually talking before the show on one of our many tech issue troubleshoot / conversations that I don't really
Mm.
follow basketball particularly. Um, 24.
Close, 22.
Okay.
I feel like
Uh,
I feel like that was mentioned before because we had talked about how
oh yeah,
Shaquille
we did
O'Neal
have
was
the
always
Shaquille
the
O'Neal
is always
Bigfoot.
the like standard.
Yeah.
Anytime you're talking about someone big, that's always compared.
Well, I mean, the other
They want to
question
put
is
them up
maybe
to.
they preferred their flip flops more floppy at the time,
Mhm. It could have been the
and
fashion thing, right?
bigger flip needs more
Right,
flop.
right. If you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I do not trust me.
I'm not sure I do. Uh, Radiocarbon dating, placed the bone fragments, and plant material found in the cave between 2030 BCE and 1218 BCE.
That's way too wide of a window. It's
Yeah.
like 800 fucking years.
I
Over
mean,
800 years. Holy shit.
that does seem pretty broad. I guess I don't know.
You like
I mean, I know how
that
radiocarbon dating
what's the
works
difference between this and
theoretically,
me
but
just pointing at this shit and being like, oh, this is fucking old?
well, I think here we have an idea that it's like between 3,000 and
This
4,000
is
years
we
old,
so I
right?
joke all the time about like scientists being useless, and I know they do a lot of important shit, and we're
Sure.
joking around in the show.
Cancer, yeah, cure
This is
cancer.
genuinely the most useless insight I have heard in my fucking life.
You
Between
think so?
2030 and 1218 BCE, fucking what am I gonna do with that? Is an 800-year period. What the fuck am I gonna do with that?
Right, but it's also said it's like 3,000 to 4,000 years ago. Yeah, that's a big
The tech
range, but
issues have given me more time to have some beers, so maybe I
have
haven't
get
thought
some
this through as much, but
get
like
you get good riled up.
I'm very. They've got me
Please.
extremely riled up, and I need someone to take it out on. And whoever did this fucking
So the
carbon dating.
right. Do you think they used like the wrong element and that's why there's such a wide date?
Yeah, they were trying a hydrogen date, and their voice just got super high, so no one was taking
Right.
them seriously, which
Right,
threw
right.
off
And they
their
had
research
right.
even further.
And then after that they tried nitrous
Oh
and
man,
it just right. The day was lost after that. Um another surprising discovery made inside the Lovelet Cave. Handprint embedded in the rock face measured twice the size of an average human palm. Uh, in 1931, an article published in the Nevada Review Minor, Miner,
that's my favorite
announced the
high school
discovery.
newspaper.
The Nash Nevada Review Minor, yeah,
Yeah.
uh, announced the discovery of two mummified skeletons in a dry lake bed outside of Lovelet. Remains reportedly measured 8.5 and 10 feet, respectively, and were described as having red hair. The red hair bit actually dovetails with the native Paiute tribe stories about a group of giant red-headed barbarians known as the Siteka, who invaded them some 3,000 years ago after crossing boats. Excuse me, after crossing the ocean in boats. Crossing
Not
a
the
boat,
same
really.
people that crossed in
Yeah,
boats from
not that
Central
big feat.
America.
No. Oh well, it just says crossing the ocean in boats.
They would have
Um,
crossed. It wouldn't really have been crossing. It would have been more of a half loop, right? You wouldn't say you cross the ocean if you go from like Florida to Boston.
Me
I guess
personally, you're goddamn right. I would call it crossing the ocean.
no, if you
I would brag to
if you
everyone
swam
about
it,
that.
if you swam it, I'd say it's crossing the ocean. If you did a rowboat, it's crossing the ocean. Once you do it in a fucking
Yeah,
I guess this was back in the day, olden times, if you will. This is pre-olden times,
no, this is olden times.
man.
Uh, yeah, but the indigenous Paiute, they had their stories about the red-headed barbarians invaded various tribes in the area, joined forces, hunt down and exterminated the barbarians. Again, we talked about the final showdown in the Lovelet Cave,
Oh yeah, which
where it's
I'm
on
gonna
the
reiterate. I'm against.
uh-huh,
I'm against
right,
that. I'm
a, a,
opposed.
a diplomatic solution. Yeah,
Jason's been both sidesing this thing.
I have. Yeah, yeah.
I I stand in solidarity with many of our tall listeners, even as a short myself. Uh, you guys need to be worried about being killed in caves. I need to worry
I
about
guess that's
giant
true.
birds swooping down and grabbing me.
Crap.
We've all got different things to worry about.
Right. Uh-huh. We all, yeah. We're all fighting our own battles. Um, yeah. The stories of giant red-headed barbarians can also be found in the Journal of Spanish Conquistador Pedro Cieza de Leon,
But no one's ever been able to
recorded in the
read it because
16th
it's in
century.
Spanish.
Yeah, right. He tells a story, a Peruvian tale about a race of giants who came by a sea in rafts and had red hair.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah, interesting story. First of all, I want to point out that there's no actual news in this article. It's not like there's a recent
Mhm.
discovery. I think it's just a slow news day at New York Post, and this is sort of the
Sometimes the news is from
newspaper equivalent of
1967
nagging.
or
Yeah. Hey
or a
guys,
while
remember this
ago.
shit? Yeah. Um,
Sometimes the news is old news.
right. Uh, yeah. No, it's interesting as you say. Just the idea of giants. They're found in pretty much globally. In various cultures have stories of giant men. Frequently, you know, evil enemies to be conquered, but sometimes allies or wise people. Uh, this also, as you pointed out in our research session, we spent 8 hours poring over
Yeah.
our various research materials. This also, the red-headed giants make an appearance in stories from soldiers serving in Afghanistan last decade. There's
Yes.
more than a few, like the Giants of Kandahar,
The Giants of
stories of
Kandahar. Yeah.
coalition U.S. and coalition forces encountering red-headed giants throughout Afghanistan. Supposedly, one attacked a squad and was shot down, and a helicopter took him away. But of course, the Pentagon, isn't admitting to anything.
And you know what they found out? You know what else they found in that cave?
What's that?
A giant diagram of the Twin Towers.
Oh shit. Hmm. No. Um. Yeah. So as far as specifically like red-headed giants, just giants more generally found, in archaeological sites. Uh, Not uncommon throughout like the Midwest. People claiming from about the same time period, the early 20th century. Um, people claiming to have recovered the bones of giants. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's something interesting to think about. It's definitely. I mean, it feels like it's something that I don't know is true or not, but like the idea of like giants, there's something like ubiquitous. Like
Mhm.
means something to like humans that these are like part of the stories. And
Oh yeah.
even to this day, like we're still telling stories about giants, right? Like we just
All
told
the
one.
fucking time. We're
uh
obsessed with this shit. I mean, Attack on Titan was one of the like
oh yeah,
when you
right,
think
right.
yeah, like that was one of the most popular shows. If you ask people who don't watch anime, like what an anime is, that's probably
That's
going to be one of the shows they name. That's and probably one of the most recent shows they name.
yeah,
Besides, maybe JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but even that is a bit more like is pretty
yeah,
niche and people only know
mhm,
from memes.
yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
there's just something to, I mean, Jack and the Beanstalk to Attack on Titan to
right,
fucking, I mean,
right,
mech stories are about giant robots like the Iron
right,
Giant and Gundam
right,
and all that shit. Now I'm
Well,
just talking
even
about fucking anime, but Neon
fucking
Genesis
Akira.
Evangelion, Super Saiyans, if you think about it, are like smaller giants. So
Right.
Dragon Ball Z, let's throw that in there. One Piece, because if Luffy stretches a
Oh
lot.
yeah. No, he's yeah, definitely a giant. Um, yeah, well, I mean, even just that this is part of like, I don't know, that we're still, talking about like the fact that maybe giants existed because we've uncovered evidence of them. Um, that's still kind of a I'm trying to think of a way to say this that isn't implying that I want to say conspiracy theory.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? As part of, I guess, like the, I don't know. There is like a cultural sort of like cultural belief that, or that's not the right word either. There's still an interest in the idea that like maybe these things existed once,
Right.
even if you don't necessarily think they exist now. Like said, that there is a lot of stories about finding evidence that sometime in the past there was these like giants that um typically portrayed as like in the folklore as like aggressive and
Right.
had to be defeated uh for the folks who live there to keep their territory. I also can't help but think like, do you think this is at all connected to like Sasquatch or Bigfoot stories?
Hmm. That's an
Is
interesting point.
there
A red-headed giant, versus a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot being, often red-headed, although not always.
right?
Uh,
Well, just the idea, like, so I
or
do
just
feel like
parallel types of human.
right.
Um,
Well, I feel like in the massive amount of research I've done for this podcast, for the past we've been doing this for what 20 years,
I
six
think
months,
so. Feels like
yeah,
that.
yeah, somewhere between 6 months and 20 years. Um, it does feel like the crypto enthusiast community is a bit siloed in the sense that you have like, okay, someone says they saw a Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest. Now here you have stories about giant skeletons unearthed, in Nevada. But
Right.
the but
And the
like, could they be connected?
cryptids.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's not improbable, right? I mean that they are connected to some divergent path in great ape evolution.
right.
Um, or just human evolution as a whole, right? Like,
Yeah.
totally not inconceivable.
Mhm.
But I don't like I think that the scientific counter to that would
Mhm.
be that in order for that to be the case, you would need to have more verifiable information about Sasquatch to then make a comparison. Like
Right.
if you had a
Right.
dead Sasquatch, which is
Mhm.
illegal in Washington, you
Yeah.
could compare it to the Nevada skeletons
Mhm.
and, kind of get a feel for it.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, and it's important to note. I was anticipating the question. Okay, where are these skeletons now?
Oh, where are the
Um,
skeletons now? Your house? Do you have them?
right. Yes. No. In between the early 1900s and today, uh, society has become generally much more sensitive to indigenous cultures and their history and importance on this continent. And so
That's good.
there has been a repatriation of remains and artifacts that had been
Yeah.
collected
And of
from
course, we talked about
indigenous cultures,
Peru
and we sent
last
them all
week
back. Yes, yeah,
with some of the with the ugly way that our little subculture can often become a bit
right, right,
insensitive to those sorts of issues,
right,
if not outright kind of fucked up and violating of
right,
so
right. So yes, so uh
Jason does not
things that have
have a
been
10-foot skeleton in his house but beyond
no,
the
no,
one that he's making himself from smaller 5'2" to 5 foot to 4'8" skeletons.
right, and it's taking a lot of hitchhikers to accumulate enough bones fill it out. It's kind of surprising.
The
Um,
problem
but
is that you getting the rib cage, because you got to figure out, do you try to space out a normal amount of ribs, or do you just add
do you
extra
want to add
ribs?
more? Right,
Yeah, and
right.
I know
Mm,
we've been in the chat.
yeah, I think I've gone with maybe a more like artistic approach where one side it's the same number but they're bigger, and the other side I'm just sort of going for it. You
Oh
know,
man, it's like
there's this
Victor's
human size
abs.
rib. Yeah. So we'll see how it turns out.
Fun stuff.
All right. No, yeah, I'm excited to have been able to talk about giants. Like I said, this is, you know, something historically like people claim to have found evidence of, you know, a giant people throughout the world. Hopefully we got to hear more.
Yeah,
I thought it was a fun story. Um, and hopefully some scientists will go and look into this as the New York Post seems to be demanding.
they better get right on it right now.
Right.
Climate change can wait.
No, right. We can put that. Yeah. Yeah. Climate change can wait. The microplastics, the giant trash island
Microplastics.
in the
I'm not
ocean.
even
Yeah. We
worried
don't need
about
to
them.
work.
I'm
Yeah.
not
We don't.
worried about the
Fuck all
microplastics.
that. Fuck all that. Yeah.
Microplastics are something I'm genuinely not worried about, because I
Yeah.
just don't have the energy to give a fuck about microplastics. I
Yeah.
literally, microplastics are a thing that are my capacity point that I just don't care. Yeah.
Understandable. All right. So our final story today. And again, a great second story. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
no, it was an
No, a
incredible.
lot
I mean,
to
I know I felt weird switching the order of what we usually do and having me do the
right.
first two and then you do the last two. And I just,
Yeah.
I really just hope that whatever those technical issues we have, I know we spend a lot of time powering through them, that the story gets saved. Because I'm
Mhm.
telling you, look, I know
It
any of
was,
these other
yeah.
stories, it would be so frustrating, right? Because any of these other stories we could totally like recreate on another episode for the most part.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
story that we're talking about, but the story and the way we riffed on it and
Hmm.
stuff like that, that I just don't think we'll ever be able to
No,
remotely
no.
recapture ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Yeah. It was real, almost spiritually awakening to have talked
Yeah.
about that. But to close this out today, this story comes to us from CBC News. Janet French, CBC News reporter.
All right.
Service Alberta minister takes aim at discounted 4-liter vodka jugs.
Oh, what? Is it a crime to discount a 4-liter vodka jug in Alberta, Canada? The most American part of Canada, according
Okay,
to my Canadian friend.
that's what for, so uh for the benefit of our listeners who maybe aren't as intimately familiar with the metric system as you and I, of
Well, they know
course,
what a
are.
2-liter is.
Oh, that's true.
You know what a
I
2-liter
forgot
soda
about that.
is. Picture
Yeah,
something twice as big as that, and that's
the
4 liters. If you
yeah,
can't do that, then then you need to be focusing on other things than
uh,
podcasts right now.
yeah. It actually
Come
looks like
back to it.
it's about the size of a milk jug, an American milk jug of vodka. Uh,
Okay, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with I don't understand this fucking fixation on like people shouldn't be able to buy large amounts of cheap liquor. Sometimes you're having a fucking party.
right, and you just need a gallon of vodka.
Look, now,
No, you're
today
preaching to
in
the choir, buddy.
2024,
Yeah.
Jason, today in 2024, I am a
Uh-huh.
28-year-old man with a wife. I have small gatherings. I buy not like nothing top shelf, but I nice enough stuff, right? So it's not
Hmm.
like that now. I had parties in college where I would absolutely be getting the discount vodka
Oh,
because I
yeah.
have a bunch
Yeah.
of people over and we go through it and we can handle it,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
like there is a purpose for this, and I just don't understand. People get so up in arms about fucking discount liquor. It's like there's a drinking age, you know? Like
Right.
fucking chill
Mhm.
out.
Yeah. So let's hear from believe me, I'm with you. And I was actually I was gonna use
Canadians,
this
it's okay to be free.
I was gonna use this as a springboard to talk about our favorite budget liquors. And we'll circle back to that. But So we've offered the pro.
Poland spring vodka, probably.
You've offered the pro. Uh, Here's Alberta's minister responsible for liquor, gaming, and cannabis. Three of my favorite things.
Oh man.
Here he is with the counter.
Of those three things, I don't know if liquor or gaming is the most dangerous, because I've seen video slot addiction here in Illinois, and it's dark.
Well,
It is like,
no, I was thinking, and I was being a little facetious, gaming in the sense of like
video games. No, I know.
Crusader
Like,
Kings, right? Not like
gambling.
soullessly
And I
dumping
like
quarters into a slot machine. And,
every couple of years I'll do a small bet on something or whatever, but like, you
yeah,
video slot addiction, man, it's rough. And also, and then I know we need to get back to the story. Some of the video slot machines, if you ever get the chance and you're not like prone to, and you're not like gonna go and become a gambling addict, just look at the themes as they slide through the different themes. Some of them are
they
pretty
are
racist.
wild.
Some of them are
Yes.
really racist, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
thing I was thinking of. Because the other day I was at a bar in Illinois for a mountain. I'm not gonna actually for something. I'm not gonna say what, because it's gonna let people dox me if I give more details.
Yeah.
And I only let them dox Jason.
Uh-huh.
But I was at a bar in Illinois and I saw this slot machine, and it was like, here's one theme, here's another. And then it gave one called Asian Fortune. And I was like, that's a little suspect. And then the next one was called Woofu. And I was like, that's not good. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I am not at all. I've been to Vegas once. I'm glad I went. I don't care if I go back. I'm just not a gambler. Like I think like one night I spent $200 and I just thought of all the other things I could have done.
I think that honestly, in 10 years, I'm gonna enjoy Vegas more, because that's when I'll be around 40-ish, and like musicians from my childhood are gonna have residencies.
Yeah.
In like
I
10
can see
years,
that.
Green Day will
Yeah.
probably have a Vegas residency, and that'll be awesome.
Yeah. You think, yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Where was I at? Oh,
The gaming,
here's
liquor, and cannabis minister talking about why this
right.
liquor jug was great.
Yeah. I don't think no, I'm not kidding. I don't think
That's
a 4 liter
racist.
I don't think a 4 liter plastic jug of vodka adds to the quality of the distillery industry we have.
I'm sorry,
here in
Jason.
this
Jason, can
office.
I give you the correct way to read that quote?
Please.
I don't
Yeah.
think a 4-liter jug of vodka adds to the quality of the distillery industry. Ooh.
That quote from Dale Nally. He's the this is get a load of this title. Service Alberta and Red Tape Reduction Minister.
How does
that's
your
his title
official
in
government title? How does your official government title sound like you've joined a pyramid scheme?
I know, that's what I was thinking.
Right? Like that's like
that sounds like such a like a bullshit PR move, or you know what I mean? Like if he was running for office and I'm the red tape reduction minister. But of course, like his title is like director of transportation, or
There was a summer that two of my brother's friends became Cutco knife salesmen, and they like both like showed up at my dad's house and were like, Mr. Michaels, can I see your knives? I'm a vegetable slicing consultant. Or like whatever the fuck.
Right. Fish deboning specialist.
My dad's like, man, I'm trying to fucking day trade and watch Giants games. Do what you want.
Oh yeah, the value vodka is priced at $49.95. That's a pretty good deal.
That's a good deal. And honestly,
for a
here's the thing.
of vodka.
Here's the thing. All right, so I'm gonna be fair here. That's $49.95 Canadian. So I'm gonna do the math here. $3.75.
Shit.
No, I actually don't know how much that is. I think it's like $40, like $42, right?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
think for our audience, that's like $42. Like if
It's
you want to know, like look at the most recent book you bought, they probably have the American and Canadian price and just judge it by
yeah.
that. Like, all right, how much does a liter of cheap vodka cost?
Here,
Yeah. Does
man, I
Denver
don't
have a high
know.
liquor tax?
Um,
I feel like you guys are pretty
I,
libertarian.
I haven't. Yeah, I can't imagine it does, but I haven't bought like cheap liquor in a long time.
Right, but like you've peaked.
Um,
Everybody peaks at the
maybe,
liquor store.
maybe, maybe 20 or $30.
Really? I feel like I could get a liter of cheap vodka. I bet I could find a $12 liter of vodka tonight within 3 hours
Mhm.
if I had to. I live in a
Okay.
college town, but
Yeah.
I bet I could find a liter of cheap vodka within 3 hours.
Yeah. Maybe I'm shooting over. Like I said, honestly, I
Like
have
for
because,
$12, I'm saying. Like for $12,
oh,
I bet
no,
I could
no,
find a liter of
no.
vodka.
Right.
So what I'm saying is
Yeah.
like
Well,
five this
maybe,
is
maybe. Yeah.
this is you
I
said
might be
it
right
this is a
there.
I'm sorry, you said it's 4 liters or 4 liters. 4 liters of vodka
4 liters,
for 50 Canadian
49.95.
dollars. So let's
Uh-huh.
say that's $42 American sounds about right. Like maybe a little more,
Yeah.
maybe a little less.
Yeah.
This is cheap, shitty vodka and a lot of it, but it doesn't
Hmm.
seem insane. And this is kind of why I unironically don't see why this is an issue. Because, like, what's
Hmm.
the big deal if I just bought 4 of those cheap fucking vodka? Like, I made
Right.
the joke about Poland
Yeah.
Spring
Yeah.
vodka
No, no,
before,
no.
but
Uh-huh.
I drank a bottle of Poland Spring vodka watching it. I think it was a Champions League match with a bunch of my friends the summer that me and my wife started dating.
Yeah.
It'll do the job when you mix it with grape Powerade. And like
Absolutely.
it could
Yeah.
not have been more than this for 5 liters. Like I'd be shocked if it was more than this for
Yeah.
4 liters, or
No.
significantly more than this for
Uh-huh.
4 liters.
Yeah. For me, it was Kamchatka vodka when I was going to
Kamchatka
Ohio
vodka.
State. That was like
Kamchatka is where I've always made my final stand in Risk games. That's not a joke. This is like
yeah,
I
it
have had
was
several Risk games where I have like a rally from
uh-huh.
Kamchatka.
It was the number one liquor in Columbus, Ohio, at least when I was there. It was everywhere. You could buy it at like the 7-Eleven. And yeah, I went through a lot of that. So I don't really care so much about cheap liquor
Yeah,
anymore.
I've never been a
I've learned
huge
my
booze.
lesson with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, I
Yeah,
don't need to.
yeah.
We don't need to get into our booze preferences, but like, this is like the point being that like I unironically don't think that people need to be so uptight about a 4 liter bottle. Sorry, a 4 liter $42 serving of vodka at a liquor store, right? Because it's a party
Yeah,
package, right? It's
yeah,
clearly a party package. The issue is
yeah.
if you're at the liquor store, like just mixing a bunch of random vodka bottles, that's probably not good or like sanitary.
Right. Yeah.
But like beyond that, you're fine.
Yeah. Sonny Bular, co-owner of Super Value Liquor, uh, says, yeah, a little surprised about the minister's concerns. Again, the minister of red
Is
tape
Super Value
reduction.
Liquor the store that had this?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, and listen, by the way, I just want to say that as both a podcast host and a stand-up comedian, I am performing for the Super Value Liquor Owners of America
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
Canada.
The true unsung
And
heroes.
if
Yeah.
when we do our first live show, I don't know when it's going to be. What's this guy's
Mhm.
name?
Sonny Bular.
Sonny
Bular.
Buhler
Mhm.
gets a free ticket pending any, really bad stuff in the future.
Right. We'll have to keep an eye on his
Yeah, because,
socials.
we don't know you, obviously,
Right. We
Sonny,
don't know
and
his
never meet your
opinions.
heroes and all that. Trust me, like Jason, as a huge Buffalo Bills fan from the 70s, knows.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Right.
But Sonny, don't kill anyone. Don't be racist.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't do any sex crimes or anything like that. You
Right.
can do some light tax fraud for fun because we're
I
not
think
Canadian,
that's
so it's not even
yeah.
unethical
Yeah.
for us.
It'd be
Like
kind of
it's
funny,
totally
maybe.
legal.
Yeah.
Like for us, it's funny if you defraud the Canadian government,
Right.
allegedly.
Yeah. Yeah. Be
Uh,
humorous. Mhm.
and I'll yeah. So do something like that. You're fine. Just don't do anything worse, and you get a free ticket, Sonny.
Sounds good. Yeah. But anyway,
Should send
Mr.
him the episode.
Buller.
I could probably find him and send him the
Oh, I
episode.
think so. We know he's in Alberta.
I'm sure
We know
he's
it's
on
super valued
Instagram.
liquor. Yeah, we can find this guy. Anyway, he's surprised about the minister's concerns. Reasons, as you mentioned, they sell packs of 36 cans of beer in a pack. You can
Wait,
buy
we
4
have
liter
wait
packs
wait
of wine.
we have 30 racks. What's the problem with the 36 rack? What's
Well,
the fucking problem here?
that's what I'm saying. That's his defense is why are they singling out
Oh, okay. I see. I thought they
the
were mad at
milk
him for so.
jug
I'm
of
sorry. I'm not
vodka?
familiar with Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're singling out the milk gallon of vodka and not giving a shit about the 36 pack of beer or the 4
And first
liters of.
off, I resent them calling it a milk gallon because these
Oh,
fucking
they're not.
Canadian
That's me.
savages drink
Yeah.
their milk in a bag. So
Bad.
like,
Yes. Yeah.
which you're like, what the fuck's up with that? But that's besides the point. Free this man. What is the fucking problem here? Holy shit.
Yeah.
You know what's ironic?
Huh.
I'm not a Christian, right? I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
Full disclosure. That's why I'm good at comedy.
Yeah.
But I believe there was just a certain Christian holiday, Easter, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Easter, it's
Uh-huh.
about a certain kind of this obscure figure. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, called Jesus Christ. He was Jewish, my ethnicity.
Uh-huh. I've heard of him.
Yeah. And he was persecuted for telling the truth.
Yeah.
Like that
That's true.
49.95 four
It's
liter
uh,
vodka is fucking dope
it's
as shit.
yeah, that's a good deal. Yeah.
And could it
Yeah.
not be
Well,
said that the Romans of today are none other than the Canadians, and specifically the Alberta provincial government?
right. The minister of red tape reduction for some reason has a problem
Yeah.
with
What's his name again?
the
Pontius Pilate?
yeah, actually that's weird. No. Yeah.
Wait, what is his name? Because I need to extend
shit,
equal
no.
invitations. I need to extend
Okay.
equal
No,
invitations.
you're right.
What's
You're
this
right.
guy's name?
No, you're right. We have to yeah, both sides. We need to balance reporting here. Dale Nally.
Dale Nally. I bet I could reach him
Yeah.
personally on the phone. I can't imagine that many people call his office. I'm not going to do it. I have better shit to do. I will probably email him with this, and he'll ignore, and one of his staffers will respond and be annoyed. But Dale, I challenge you, sir, to come on this show, probably after Passover when I'm less busy,
Sure.
and debate me about the pros and cons of 49.95.
49.95 4 liters of vodka. Right.
Yeah. I challenge you, sir.
Yeah.
I challenge you, sir. Okay, so here's the deal. So, liquor store owner of Super Value Liquors, that's what it's called, right? Super Value or Super Discount?
Super value liquors. Yeah.
Super Value
not,
Liquors owner.
no,
You
it's
get
not,
a free
yeah, it's a value. Yeah.
you
It's
get a
not
free
discount.
ticket to either our first live show
Uh-huh.
or because we can make a live show happen because we know people who have high up positions at small bars, but they just wouldn't be very good or
I'm gonna
impressive.
say
Joe.
Coliseums. Yeah.
No, I can make a live
Yes, we
show
could,
happen
yes.
at a specific
think
bar that I know of, but
Right.
it wouldn't really.
Yeah.
You either get a ticket to that, you can opt out to hold it off until the first Canadian show. Keep
That
in
might
mind,
be
the first Canadian show might never happen unless
right,
you
that
want
might
it to happen
be a
at
ways out.
Super Value Liquors.
Oh shit. Oh man, that'd be great.
Yeah,
First
so
live
that's the offer
episode.
to you. That's the offer to you. However, sir, with all due respect, and we love you for this, you're a loose cannon. I can't give you a microphone on our show. You understand that.
Yeah,
you understand that.
He's on the delay.
It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. We just can't.
No.
I don't have the time to
Right.
edit you. And at a live show, no, sir. But you get a free ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dale Nally. That's the guy's name. Dale Nally or Dale McNally?
Dale Nally. Yeah.
Dale Nally.
Yeah, he has nothing to do with what encyclopedias.
Dale Nally.
Maps? Who's
You can come on the
McNally?
show.
Yeah.
You can come on the show because I know you have constituents.
Uh-huh.
And I think we're pretty chill guys, all things considered.
I think so.
I know, Dale, if this is your first episode of the show, I'm going to sound a little angry today, but it's because of unrelated tech issues. I
Right.
promise
Nothing.
you.
Yes.
It has nothing
Nothing.
to do with you. It has nothing to
No,
do with you, Mr. Nally. I have nothing
nothing.
respect for your job at what's it called? The
Yes.
red
The
tape
red
and
tape reduction minister. Yeah.
reduction. Stop red
Has
tape and start fucking
right.
vodka
Has
tax.
nothing to do with Canada's with the draconian limits on vodka volume that you can sell.
Listen. I'm against this. I am against this. But I just want to be clear, Mr. Nally, you will get a more fair shot because I won't be as angry because of tech issues when you come on the show. I
Right.
want to be abundantly clear that I won't
Right.
be thinking
Right.
about what this episode's going to be like to edit when you're here.
Right.
Jason,
Oh,
Jason,
yeah.
you know how it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission?
I do actually. Yeah.
Can you forgive me for the fact that I am unironically going to be contacting both of these people after the fact
I
for
hope so.
this?
I hope so. Um
Okay.
actually and just the final pin in the story. So T-Rex is the manufacturer of said 4-liter vodka.
Also a great glam rock band from Jason's
Exactly.
era.
Oh, yeah. No, no, fantastic. They've discontinued for a variety of reasons. This included production of the 4-liter vodka.
I'm
So
sorry.
get
Fucking
get
this
your
is the
ass to
type of
Alberta and
shit.
get one while you can. Yeah.
This is the type of shit. Oh my god. I don't understand what the fucking problem is here. Like, am I
I don't
Jason,
know.
can you're usually I feel like this has been a weird episode for a lot of reasons, but
Mhm.
normally you are the voice of reason here. That's the
Yeah.
dynamic that we've set up.
Which is sort of scary, but yeah.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
see any problem with this thing at all? Like, I'm not saying you should
I
go out and get it, right? Do you see any
no.
problem that a government should be involved?
Uh no. No. Honestly, I don't. Mostly I like this story because the image of a great big plastic jug of vodka is just inherently funny. Um I kind of, what it whoever wants to buy this, whatever you want to do with it, God bless them. It I have, yeah, I guess
Like let me put it this way.
yeah,
Let me just put it this way. Like, there are things like a class. I make a lot of jokes about original recipe for loco because that
sure.
doesn't exist anymore.
No, it
You
does not.
can't get original recipe for loco anymore.
Yeah,
If that still
disappointingly, yeah.
existed, I would be abundantly clear. Like, like I would not be making all of these jokes about how it's like super cool, like it's like
Right,
fine
right.
because like you
Mhm.
shouldn't get that, right? With even the cheapest,
Right.
shittiest vodka. There is an amount of any vodka that you should drink, and your hangover will probably be worse with cheap liquor. Like, that is a real thing because of like methanol, ethanol, or whatever the fuck. Uh, like,
Yeah.
isn't that true? Like, cheap liquor does give people worse hangovers because it's a different type of
No,
ethanol usually.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
and
I
it's nothing
don't
to do with
think
sugar either. It's like,
no,
but you're
no.
also likely to mix it with a bunch of mixers and stuff as well. Like, I may not imagine you're drinking
Right.
this on the rocks.
No. And yes, this definitely to me screams like house
Jungle
party.
juice.
Yeah, right. Like
This is you put it
you're
in the
dumping
much
this in a
bigger.
bowl.
You have
Yes.
2 or 3 big fucking things, and you mix it with that, and you mix it with a bunch of other shit, right? And it's a
Yeah.
bunch of people
Yeah.
drinking it. Like, there is an amount of vodka you should drink, and there is an
Right.
amount of vodka you should not. But this is just vodka sold in a certain quantity for a certain price, and like,
Mhm.
I simply don't see the issue. If they are saying that there is something in this that isn't vodka, bring the charges
Right.
forward. If they're
Right.
saying there's a tax dodge, bring the charges forward, right?
I don't know. No,
But
I
if
don't.
your position is vodka bad, then you gotta ban it and be fucking Saudi
I
Arabia.
right. I don't disagree. I from reading the article, I guess Dale Nally, his it seems like he's afraid that this like damages Alberta's reputation somehow.
Alberta is the most American part of Canada. Even I know that. It's called the Texas of Canada. They do rodeos. They're like Alberta
I'm
is
just I'm just saying.
in general, on a day to day,
Uh-huh.
Alberta is a more stereotypically American place than certainly where I grew up in New
Well, I was gonna
Jersey.
say probably Denver. Yeah.
Yeah, probably Denver, right? Like
Right.
Alberta is like it had like it's specifically called the Texas of Canada, right? Like it's an
Mhm.
oil industry place. Like
Ah, okay.
so like this specific, and if your argument is just like it's bad that we have this legal, why? Why is it
Right.
bad for Canada to let people have fun? What's the problem here? You know what state that it's becoming illegal for
I
people to
don't know.
have fun in? Fucking
What state's that?
Florida with Ron DeSantis. And their
Yeah.
best comedian is now Dave Rubin. Do you want your best comedian to be Dave Rubin, Alberta? That's a serious fucking question because
That's so
that's where you guys are
gross.
headed. I just want to be clear because I know
Um,
when I say that anyone should be allowed to sell something, it sounds like I'm like a weird, like right wing libertarian, and I'm definitely not. Like, but this is just an insane thing for them to be upset about.
I just thought it was funny that they were selling great big plastic jugs of vodka for
And
50 bucks.
you
No,
know what I have to
I
say?
thought it's amusing to me.
Legalize it.
Yeah,
Legalize it,
yeah.
mon.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, it's racist for a white guy to say
Yeah,
mon, I
don't
think,
yeah.
right? Yeah, so
Yeah, we should
legalize it,
cut that out.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cut it out because I will stand by my errors. I'm gonna apologize for them. And I now have 129 YouTube subscribers, so eventually I'll be canceled for it. But
Yeah.
uh either way, you know what I have to say, Jason?
What's that?
I have to say that I am thankful for
Mm.
these lovely people, our
Hmm.
listeners, the
Uh-huh.
sexiest listeners in podcasting,
Hmm.
mostly because it includes my wife,
Yeah.
but also because it includes Jason Strong listening to the podcast after the fact.
I don't really listen to
Uh,
it now.
yeah. I I wanted to say, so then it's still the sexiest listenership because it
No,
includes my wife.
yes.
But there are several podcasts that my wife listens to, but it's just that like it's the my wife per capita of this podcast is the highest
This is yeah, yeah.
by far of any podcast that I could think of.
No, that same for me.
Until we get bigger
Oh,
than Critical Role,
with my
watch out,
spouse interests, yeah.
Mercer.
Right.
It's gonna be
Nipping
us.
nipping at his heels.
Yeah, for real. I know that fucker's scared. That's why they don't give me a Fallout role.
Yeah.
Uh, Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. We're really thankful for you guys. All
Yeah.
seriousness,
And
I know there might have
and
been some technical hiccups on
yeah,
this issue on
yeah,
this
sorry
episode.
for
Yeah,
yeah.
no, we're not sure why it is. We're working on the same hardware in the same locations as we normally do. It might be
Right.
an issue with my Wi-Fi router. We know there was an issue
I don't
with
know.
the. We don't need to get into it, but like whatever
It
it is,
it
if you've listened through it, we appreciate you.
it
Uh,
could be this new chip I had implanted in my brain now that I think
oh, is
about
that
it.
when you got the vaccine?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when I got the measles vaccine.
Oh, yeah. No, they gave me mine with the polio one.
Uh yeah.
They gave
The
me a chip in my brain that it's called the stop saying please just let me be in the iron lung it seems comfy chip.
right.
It's a rare one. But
No, man.
did you hear about that by the way? This is unrelated to anything we talked about on the show, but I guess in the post credits we could talk
Uh-huh.
in the pre credits we could talk about whatever we want. Did you hear about the last guy to be in the iron lung
Yeah,
just died?
I heard
That's
that.
crazy.
That is
That's
wild to
wild.
think.
I mean, obviously
Yeah.
not in Underworld News Tonight. Sorry, I had actually just seen one of his
No, I
TikToks a few
wouldn't.
days before.
Uh-huh.
This is not a joke. I had just seen one of his TikToks a few days before. I guess he
Yeah.
has. I don't. I was presumably not one of his kids or grandkids because obviously you can't. It's a
Right,
very
right.
thick exterior. But
Right. Well, he was in
although
there.
even the strongest condom can break, so who knows?
Well, he was
But
in there
like,
for what, 50 years, 70 years? Like
like a yeah,
I
must have been
that's
70 years, right? Because nobody was getting put in iron lungs in the 70s
I don't
in
know.
America,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I don't
Nobody's
know.
getting
I'll have to look into that.
yeah, like
I don't know.
no, like that's insane. And he became a lawyer, like he did all this shit. And I mean it does go to show, and this is maybe a bit more heartfelt than I normally get. I know most of the people that listen to this show. We're still a very small show, right?
Mhm.
Like, but I don't
Mhm.
know everyone who listens to this show. Maybe you're going through some stuff in life and you're thinking,
Yeah.
oh, like I can't do X, Y, or Z because I'm going through X,
Mhm.
Y, or Z. This
Yeah.
guy iron lunged his way to like being a legit, like successful lawyer. Like he was a rich guy.
Mm,
Like he was a very, really successful
really?
lawyer.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Like lawyers would know about his lawyering, I think. I don't know,
Hmm.
maybe I don't know enough about this to talk about this, but I think that like lawyers would really in the know, like enthusiast lawyers would probably be at least aware of him, even if he wasn't in the
Okay.
iron lung, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he did some legit work for a long time. Like, you know, like there's a lot you could still do, you know, so
Hmm.
hang in
Yeah.
there, keep a good outlook on life. Uh,
Hmm.
but if you're gonna be doom scrolling, you should doom
Hmm.
scroll and follow us, Underworld News Tonight,
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Just
Facebook.
a
Yeah.
heads up, guys, there's probably going to be, and there has been a bit of a delay on our funny social media clips. The simple reason for that has been I'm super busy. Jason's
Mm.
super busy.
Yeah.
We're both
We have
human
we have
beings.
jobs. Yeah.
We have jobs. We have
Yeah.
families.
We
We
yeah.
have,
We don't do this
uh,
for a living. Yeah.
we don't do this for a living. We want to do this for a living. I want to do this for a living, but we don't do
Yeah.
this for a living.
No. Hmm.
So you know, in the meantime, bear with us, guys. We're gonna be getting that stuff up and running soon, but please
Yeah.
follow us in the meantime.
Hmm.
For any sort of interaction with the show, if you
Hmm.
like the show, want to talk to us, you can email us underworldnewstonight
Yeah.
at gmail.com. Of course, we
Hmm.
also always have our Spotify questions and poll. If you
Uh-huh.
listen on that show, the poll is always what's your favorite story? The question is
Yeah.
always whatever we said. What did I ask this time? I already forgot.
Oh shit. I did too. What? Something about no, I don't remember.
It's been a long night.
Yeah. What uh uh after vodka, what liquor would you like to be able to purchase in a 4 liter jug
For $49.95. And guys, if
for
I can give
forty
you some
nine ninety
advice on
five?
that,
Yeah,
Canadian $49.95. If I can give some
right.
advice on that, do not say Captain Morgan. For any of our younger listeners, that shit
No,
is the fucking devil. And
please
if
don't.
definitely do not say Admiral Nelson.
Oh, no, you're right. Even worse headache, if you can believe that.
Oh my god.
I
You
don't
know
think
what's
I've
fucked
ever
up is
felt so bad.
Captain Morgan. I don't know if I ever told the story on the podcast, but Captain Morgan ruined my ability to drink vanilla Coke
Yeah. No, same.
because I had some friends over after college and we got
Yeah.
some Captain Morgan.
Hmm.
And I had my friend, I said, hey, can you bring some Coke to like either mix it with her as a chaser? And he brought vanilla Coke. And the
Hmm.
thing is, when you take a shot of Captain Morgan and you take a like big sip of vanilla Coke, which is a bunch of artificial vanilla flavor,
Yeah.
similar to
Uh-huh.
what Captain Morgan tastes like,
Yes.
it really
Yes.
just tastes
Mhm.
like you're drinking more of the Captain.
Yeah, it is not pleasant.
No,
It's
it's like really
no,
bad. It's like
no.
horrible. So
Oh
yeah,
no, no.
that put me off of that beverage for life. But
Yeah.
that's besides the point. The other people that you could follow on social media are first off, uh, we're gonna save the first for the most important. Me, Andrew
Yeah.
Michaels.
Uh-huh.
You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok and
Yep.
YouTube.
Hmm.
Andrew Michaels Comedy. What are you gonna
Hmm.
find there? You're gonna find little clips of me around my house making
Yeah.
little jokes, Joshes, and Jess.
Pretty
And you
good.
can find
Yeah,
the
it's pretty good.
occasional clip of my stand-up. I don't post those as much because they don't do as well with the algorithm. I'm not a big crowd work guy. I don't
Hmm.
get heckled. Every mic that I perform at kicks out hecklers because I don't live somewhere that has like heckler friendly mics. But uh if you want to be able to heckle me, this is the other plug. Uh Actually, I'll save event plugs for the end. You give your
Yeah.
plugs first.
Okay. Yeah. Jason V Strong on Instagram and Instagram.
And Instagram.
Yeah.
He's not on TikTok. He's not on YouTube.
No.
He's not going to do a little
I'm
song and dance
exclusive.
for you, man. He
No.
has actual talents. This man plays the guitar. This
Hmm.
man draws. I can't
Uh-huh.
do that shit. Do you
Hmm.
know what it looks like when I draw? Jason's seen the picture I drew of my D&D character. It doesn't look
Uh-huh.
good. It doesn't
That's
look
okay.
right. It doesn't look pretty.
Yeah.
No,
Mm.
it's not okay. It's
No.
not okay,
No.
Jason.
Okay.
It's okay from one of your. I can't make this joke. Never mind.
No, yeah, please don't.
It's okay.
Tap the
It's
brakes.
yeah. I'm gonna tap the brakes on this joke. It's not okay. Uh, so he has actual talents. He doesn't need to do the
Yeah.
comedian song and dance for you. I need to do the comedian song and dance for you. And you get to comment not funny and your voice is annoying, and that's fine. But
Uh-huh.
just don't be anti-Semitic, because then I will make fun of you and post it
No.
on other social media.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do that.
I had someone comment on a stand-up clip of mine the other day that the Holocaust didn't happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the weird thing is this guy liked Hitler. This guy liked Hitler, but thought the Holocaust didn't happen. And then it's like, what do you like this guy for then, you know? Like, because clearly you wanted to, right? So it's like, I just don't understand what you're fucking, like, it's like the Jimmy Carter of Germany at that point, you know? Like you're like I know what being a New York Mets fan is like. Anyway, some event plugs for
Oh,
you guys.
yeah.
Some event plugs for you guys. First off, an event plug for the show. August 10th,
Oh,
Johnstown,
yeah. Uh-huh.
Pennsylvania. Squonkapalooza. Me, Jason, at a
Squonkapalooza.
booth. A booth. We
Yeah.
have to get a tent, right? We do have to get a tent. We have to rent a tent or buy a tent. That's
Yes.
besides the point. You
Yeah,
guys
we'll
don't need
figure
to
that
know
out.
about tent
No.
purchases. This is
Mm-mm.
not the tent purchase hour. That's a great
Right.
podcast that you guys should listen to.
Yeah.
I think it's hosted by fucking B Arthur. She didn't die. They just misreported that. She's been hosting tent purchase hour. Uh
Wow.
yeah. No,
You gotta
people
be
don't
bigger
nobody wants
news.
to talk about it. The liberal media just won't report.
Mm.
But yeah, you find us August 10th, Squonkapalooza, Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Like I said, we're a small show. We're not expecting any of you guys there. So if any of you guys show up, and even if one of you guys shows up and like says hi to us, it will
Right.
literally make our day. We're there to meet people and like make people who don't know about this aware of us. So if you
Right.
are aware of us and you show up, like it'll literally make our day. So like
Yeah.
that'll be great.
Mhm.
The other thing is that if you are in the St. Louis area, Southern Illinois, Central Illinois,
Mhm.
June 28th, I am going to be doing stand up in a competition, Capture the Crown 5, I think
Mm.
part 5, maybe part 4, in Sandoval, Illinois. It's about an hour outside of St. Louis. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've been doing stand up consistently 2 to 3 times a week
Mhm.
at open mics for the last 3 months. If anybody here who listens has done any stand up, you guys know it's like a really interesting, it's a challenging craft, and it really makes it's something that you can really
Mhm.
feel like you could get better at forever, and you could really express yourself in unique ways. So please,
Mhm.
please come out,
Mhm.
listen. We'll have some laughs, we'll have some fun. And if you want to chat with me after, that'd be great too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in the meantime, like, yeah, Jason and I were both worried at the beginning of the show. We thought we might have to cancel the show.
Right.
We
It,
we
yeah.
had a bunch of tech issues. We
First. Yeah.
what is it? Almost 2 hours. We basically started when we would have ended and are now ending
Right. When we would
after
have
that.
started the next. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
no,
it's
it's
all.
been
Yeah.
insane, and but
Uh huh.
that beautiful, beautiful second story makes it worth it. And I said several times in
Mm.
the show that
Yeah.
that's an
Mhm.
uncapturable story. We'll never be able to do something like that again.
Right.
So the
Yeah.
question is like, how long are they gonna have to wait for it, right?
Yeah.
And my thoughts are that they shouldn't even worry about that much.
Mm.
Because like they're like, how long? First off, they've got the social medias, they've got my stand up, they've got
Right.
your drawings. Like
Yeah.
you're satiated.
Yeah. They got a lot of.
Second
Yeah.
off,
Mhm.
it's all fucking phantom time, but right now.
Mhm.